In the headlines for this hour on VTV News, Party General Secretary and President of China concludes state visit to Vietnam. And innovate approaches in environmental technology. Trade tensions can lead to stock market crashes, according to the IMF.
Broadcasting from Hanoi, the capital of Vietnam. VTV News starts right now.
Hello, it's 8 a.m. local time in Hanoi. You're watching VTV News. General Secretary of the Communist Party of China, Central Committee, and President of China, Xi Jinping, and a high-ranking Chinese delegation on Tuesday morning led wreath in tribute to President Ho Chi Minh at his mausoleum in Hanoi. The Chinese president expressed his admiration for President Ho Chi Minh, a national liberation hero, an outstanding man of culture, a genius leader of the party and peoples of Vietnam, a steadfast revolutionary soldier, and a close friend of the world's peoples. Vietnamese Party General Secretary Tô Lâm joined the Chinese leader at the mausoleum. President Ho Chi Minh of Vietnam and Chairman Mao Zedong of China were two outstanding revolutionary leaders of Vietnam and China in the 20th century. Both leaders share communist ideals and the common goals of achieving independence for their respective nations. Party General Secretary Tô Lâm and State President Lương Cường, together with Chinese Party General Secretary and President Xi Jinping, attended the Vietnam-China People's Friendly meeting on Tuesday. Over 350 representatives, including scholars, students, and youth from both countries, participated in the event. More on the following story.
The event featured a photo exhibition celebrating 75 years of diplomatic ties between the two countries and a Vietnam-China People's Friendly meeting. Party General Secretary Tô Lâm emphasized the need to strengthen a more solid social foundation, with the younger generation playing a key role. He called on citizens, especially the youth, to carry forward and further develop the profound relationship.
The young generations of both countries must now strive to improve themselves, enhance creativity, master new technologies, and strengthen solidarity and cooperation to support each other's development. They are called to play a pioneering role in national industrialization and modernization and become a driving force in advancing Vietnam-China relations in the new era.
At the event, the Chinese Party General Secretary and President Xi Jinping proposed using the China-Vietnam People-to-People Exchange Year 2025 to promote vibrant cultural exchanges and pass down the friendship to later generations.
Today, many young people are among us, and youth represent the future. In the next 3 years, China warmly invites Vietnamese youth to take part in the Red Journey in China, explore the shared red gene of bilateral friendship, experience China's rich and diverse modernization efforts, and contribute to the development of the Vietnam-China community with a shared future that carries strategic significance.
On this occasion, both sides launched the Red Journey, youth research and study program to explore historical sites in Vietnam and China, deepening youth understanding of revolutionary support. They also introduced the Vietnam-China Railway Cooperation Mechanism and established the Joint Railway Cooperation Committee. Party General Secretary and President Xi Jinping noted that choosing Vietnam as his first foreign visit this year underscores China's high regard for the relationship. In response, Party General Secretary Tô Lâm emphasized that friendship and cooperation are central to Vietnam-China ties, stressing the importance of advancing their bilateral relations.
Chinese Party General Secretary and President Xi Jinping departed Hanoi on Tuesday afternoon, successfully concluding his two-day state visit to Vietnam. Prime Minister Phie and leaders of several ministries and agencies waved off the top Chinese leader and his entourage at Hanoi International Airport. Prime Minister Phie congratulated the Party General Secretary and President of China on his very successful state visit to Vietnam and affirmed that the visit would be a historical milestone contributing to promoting relations between the two parties and two countries, as well as the traditional friendship between the two peoples. It will also promote building a Vietnam-China community of a shared future, which will have strategic significance in the new situation. Party General Secretary and President Xi Jinping thanked the party, state, and peoples of Vietnam for the warmth and thoughtful reception. In addition, he reaffirmed China's support for Vietnam to build a strong, independent, and self-reliant economy. He wished Vietnam success in organizing the 14th National Congress of the Communist Party of Vietnam, bringing the country into a new era of development. Concluding Party General Secretary and President of China Xi Jinping's state visit, Vietnam and China issued a joint statement on further deepening their comprehensive strategic cooperative partnership and promoting the Vietnam-China community with a shared future that carries strategic significance.
In the joint statement, both countries agreed on the need to steadfastly promote the cause of Vietnam-China friendship. The close Vietnam-China relationship, comrades and brothers, is a valuable asset that must be well inherited, protected, and promoted. Vietnam and China also reaffirmed the need to support each other firmly on the path to socialism in accordance with the situation of each country. In addition, both nations have agreed to work together to raise strategic trust to a higher level, considering high-level orientations an irreplaceable factor in developing bilateral relations. The Vietnamese side affirmed its firm adherence to the One China policy and considered Taiwan an inseparable part of Chinese territory. Other issues related to Hong Kong, Xinjiang, and Tibet are China's internal affairs and support for China in maintaining the stable development of these regions. The Chinese side expressed its appreciation for Vietnam's stances and expressed its support for the country in maintaining social stability, ensuring security, development, and national unity. The joint statement also highlighted the need for a more substantive defense and security cooperation pillar. Moreover, both countries agreed to consider China's new quality production development and Vietnam's new production capacity as opportunities to build a more comprehensive and extensive cooperation structure. Effectively implement the cooperation plan connecting the two corridors, One Belt framework with the Belt and Road Initiative, prioritize accelerating infrastructure connection between the two countries in terms of railways, highways, and border gate infrastructure. Notably, both countries will promote the role of the Vietnam-China Joint Committee on Railway Cooperation, implementing standard gauge railway projects connecting Vietnam and China and promoting cross-border standard gauge railway connections between Vietnam and China. In addition, both nations support cooperation in emerging fields such as artificial intelligence, clean energy, green development, and digital economy. They also recognize the importance of the Regional Comprehensive Economic Partnership, RCEP, and the ASEAN-China Free Trade Agreement, ACFTA, in promoting the balanced development of bilateral trade. Top leaders of both countries reaffirmed that the 75th anniversary of diplomatic relations and the Vietnam-China Humanistic Exchange Year 2025 should be considered an opportunity to effectively implement a series of humanistic exchange activities and contribute to consolidating the social foundation. During the visit, the two sides signed cooperation documents in road and railway connectivity, testing, customs quarantine, agricultural trade, defense, science and technology, culture, sports, education, people's livelihood, human resources, communications and local cooperation. Concluding the joint statement, the two sides agreed that Party General Secretary and President of China Xi Jinping's state visit to Vietnam was a great success and made an important contribution to promoting traditional friendship.
Prime Minister Phie and his spouse on Tuesday afternoon hosted an official welcome ceremony for Ethiopian Prime Minister Abiy Ahmed Ali and his spouse, who are on official visit to Vietnam and attending the Fourth Partnership for Green Growth and the Global Goals P4G Summit. Following the ceremony, the two prime ministers held talks.
Welcoming the first official visit by a high-level Ethiopian leader to Vietnam since the two countries established diplomatic ties in 1976, Prime Minister Pham Minh Chinh called for stronger dialogue and mutual understanding and expressed confidence in its economic prospects. In response, Prime Minister Abiy Ahmed Ali was pleased to visit the country for the first time upon Vietnam's 50th national reunification anniversary, praised the country's development achievements, and affirmed Vietnam as a priority in Ethiopia's Asia policy. Recognizing that economic cooperation remains modest compared to both sides' potential, senior leaders agreed to negotiate, create a favorable legal framework, diversify trade items, and facilitate investment projects. They also committed to expanding cooperation in promising areas such as agriculture, the defense industry, cybersecurity, and transport connectivity, particularly in aviation. Following their talks, both prime ministers witnessed the signing and exchange of cooperation documents in trade, education and training, and business collaboration. Vietnam also approved Ethiopian Airlines' launch of the first direct flight connecting the two capitals to boost trade. Prime Minister Abiy Ahmed Ali also extended an invitation for Prime Minister Pham Minh Chinh to pay an official visit to Ethiopia, which the Vietnamese Prime Minister gladly accepted. Prime Minister Abiy Ahmed Ali met Party General Secretary To Lump after the welcoming ceremony. Both sides stressed the need to prioritize key areas for cooperation in the coming period, particularly in agriculture, trade, and investment, while also strengthening collaboration in defense, security, people-to-people, and business exchanges. The Vietnamese party chief welcomed Ethiopian Airlines' plan to launch a new direct flight from Addis Ababa to Hanoi in July this year. Also, on this occasion, Prime Minister Abiy Ahmed Ali extended an invitation for Party General Secretary To Lump to visit Ethiopia in the near future.
National Assembly Chairman Trần Thanh Mẫn attended the closing ceremony of the APF Executive Committee's conference and the Francophone Parliamentary Cooperation Forum on Sustainable Agriculture, Food Security and Climate Change Response held in Cần Thơ City on Tuesday. Vice Chairman of Vietnam National Assembly Nguyễn Đức Hải, head of the organizing committee of the APF conference, emphasized that the event affirmed the role and the proactive participation of the Vietnamese National Assembly in the Parliamentary Assembly of the Francophonie in particular, and the inter-parliamentary forums in general. The event left deep impressions on international delegates about Vietnam National Assembly. At the closing ceremony, the National Assembly Standing Committee and the National Assembly Office presented 37 collectives and 25 individuals with outstanding achievement awards contributing to the success of the conference. The Fourth Partnership for Green Growth and the Global Goals 2030 P4G conference is being held in Hanoi from April 14 to 17th. The P4G Summit opens with the key sessions on advancing climate technology, the role of public-private partnership, and networking events connecting startups with investors.
The conference brought together over 80 leading climate and environmental tech businesses worldwide to present solutions to investors and experts. A foreign ministry representative highlighted Vietnam's efforts to reform institutions and build a supportive ecosystem. International organizations and investors pledged to prioritize scalable, sustainable solutions.
Vietnam holds strong potential for green and digital transformation, supported by a diverse business landscape, private, community, and state-owned enterprises, all actively promoted by national leaders.
Ahead of the summit, delegates called for P4G to enhance its role in boosting global cooperation and advancing climate technology as a key driver of inclusive and sustainable growth.
Coming up next on VTV News, textiles footwear record higher order fulfillment amid tariff uncertainties. And Ho Chi Minh City hotels fully booked in anticipation of nation major holiday. Following the U.S. decision to temporarily delay reciprocal tariff, the export order situation in Vietnam has shown signs of stabilization. In particular, most textiles and footwear orders have resumed, including those with delivery schedules extending beyond the postponement period of the proposed tariff policy.
The U.S. tariff announcement caused its businesses to delay orders for Vietnamese textiles and footwear. In contrast, European partners have committed to increased order volumes. Newly signed contracts extending through September 2025 now include clauses for joint risk sharing should tariffs rise in the future.
Orders have continued to arrive and be signed throughout the year, keeping production lines running at our company.
The textile sector has seen a recovery in both the resumption of paused orders and the addition of new ones. Forecasts suggest stable output for the first half of the year, with gradual increases expected toward the end of 2025.
We have received orders scheduled for the next 3 months. American buyers, anticipating demand for peak retail seasons, have requested urgent orders and increased volumes.
Currently, 50% of Vietnam's textile exports and 40% of footwear exports are destined for the U.S. This export power, coupled with tariff adjustments, has made it challenging for importers to switch to other partners.
The most important question is, can Vietnam remain competitive against leading textile exporting nations in the U.S. market? Even under current tariff uncertainties, the industry still aims to maintain its annual growth rate of 8 to 10% throughout the 2025 to 2030 period.
In addition to long-standing partners such as Japan, South Korea, China, and the EU, Vietnamese exporters are being encouraged to explore emerging markets in Latin America and Africa to mitigate risks. The Vietnamese government, meanwhile, continues to actively engage in trade negotiations with the U.S.
To reduce labor costs, farmers in KHMER are now using unmanned aerial vehicles to manage their crops. Thanks to artificial intelligence AI, these devices receive regular updates and upgrades, making agriculture production significantly more efficient.
AI technology will be integrated into this. If the drone misses a spot because it ran out of pesticide, it will return to that location later to finish the job.
Using drones pre-programmed with specific frequency, flow, and timing settings, farmers need only start the device and mark the spray area. The drone then automatically covers the entire field with even distribution. This approach not only saves time and labor, but also reduces the waste of pesticides and fertilizers while safeguarding farmers' health.
If it rains, like in this field, it used to take me 4 days to finish spraying, and by then the plants could already be damaged. But now, with the drone, I can finish in just 1 day.
Given their proven benefits, farmers across KHMER are increasingly turning to drones for crop management.
Due to the large-scale production in mountainous areas, this technological equipment proves highly beneficial. It significantly enhances production efficiency.
The adoption of modern technology, equipment, and machinery helps address mounting labor shortages in agriculture, a sector where finding workers has become increasingly challenging.
Vietnam Book and Reading Culture Day 2025 begins on April 15 and runs through May 2nd across the country, featuring a diverse array of culture and literacy activities. This nationwide campaign includes book fairs, reading culture exchanges, tributes to readers and authors, and seminars on digital reading trends and emerging technologies. The official opening ceremony took place this Thursday, April 17 in Ho Chi Minh City. The campaign centers on 3 main themes: reading culture, connecting communities together with books into the era of the nation's rise, and reading enriches knowledge, nurtures aspirations, and fuels innovation and creativity. The upcoming major holiday, which coincides with National Reunification Day and International Labor Day, is expected to bring a surge in tourist number in Ho Chi Minh City. With visitor volumes forecast to double compared to last year, many hotels in the city centers are already fully booked.
Hotels near Tu Hoa Huan Street in District 1 have reported near full occupancy. This hotel chain has few vacancies left after receiving reservations for its 250 rooms across 4 branches.
Though rooms are officially limited to 2 adults and 1 child, we offer flexible arrangements such as adding extra beds to maximize occupancy and meet demand.
With limited room availability, hotels enhance their service offerings by providing food and beverage packages, allowing guests to dine while watching the parades and fireworks.
Since mid-March, we've been fully booked for the holiday period. Now, only dining and event viewing packages remain available.
Hotels estimate that April revenue could rise by over 50% compared to an average month and 25 to 30% compared to the same holiday period last year. Service providers have been requested to maintain stable prices during the holiday rush.
We also offer special programs for veterans, helping them revisit former battlegrounds or explore new landmarks in Ho Chi Minh City.
Travel businesses are expanding accommodation options into neighboring districts. Tour itineraries are also being adjusted to avoid peak hours and better distribute tourist flow across the city.
Coming up next in our World News, trade tensions can lead to stock market crashes, according to the IMF. And South Korea launches $23 billion semiconductor stimulus amid U.S. tariff uncertainties. The International Monetary Fund (IMF) on Monday warned that major geopolitical risk events, including trade tensions, can generate market volatility and threaten financial stability. The IMF also said economic uncertainties increases the chance of extreme unexpected losses in an investment portfolio, boosting the risk of stock market crisis. In its Global Financial Stability Report, the IMF said big risk events such as wars, diplomatic tensions, or terrorism send stock prices down to an average of 1 percentage point monthly across all countries. For emerging markets, the average decline is steeper at 2.5%. International military conflicts were the most significant risk events, pushing stock returns down an average of 5 percentage points monthly, twice the level of other geopolitical risk events. South Korea on Tuesday announced an increase in its support package for the country's vital semiconductor industry to 33 trillion won, or $23.25 billion, up around 25% from the 26 trillion won package revealed the previous year. The measures respond to growing trade uncertainties under the current U.S. administration and increasing external competitions. South Korea would also increase its financial aid scheme for the semiconductor industry from 17 trillion won to 20 trillion won. South increased stimulus in its vital chip sectors is designed to help companies cope with higher costs as they compete globally. In 2024, South Korea's semiconductor export stood at $141.9 billion, accounting for 21% of the country's total. The U.S. Department of Education announced it would freeze $2.3 billion in federal funding for Harvard University. The move came after Harvard said it would reject the Trump administration demands for policy changes at the school. The freeze in funding includes $2.2 billion in multi-year grants and $60 million in multi-year contract value at Harvard University. Harvard President Alan Garber said in a statement that demands from the Department of Education would allow the federal government to control the Harvard community and threaten the school's value. Earlier, the Trump administration had frozen hundreds of millions of dollars in federal funding for numerous universities, pressing the institutions to make policy changes and citing what it says is a failure to fight anti-Semitism on campus. Thailand's Tham's Honor Songkran Festival kicked off on Sunday. Some visitors visited pagodas to pray for peace, while others, including locals and international tourists, were reassured by the festive and safe atmosphere. The Songkran Festival marked the end of the dry season and the start of the new agricultural cycle.
An important part of the festival, the water fight, had soaked celebrators strolled along a half-kilometer stretch of the capital's Khaosan Road. They joyfully blasted water and danced to music blaring from roadside bars and vendors.
Yeah, well, it's very fun because in the Netherlands we don't have something like this. In the New Year's is for us just firework and drinking. This is totally different and we didn't know what to expect, but it's very fun. I love it. I love the water. I love the vibe that is in the city, so it's very fun.
The festivities came weeks after a powerful earthquake rattled neighboring Myanmar in March, leaving some revelers hesitant to join large crowds. But others said it felt safer than they had expected.
Only the one who has come here knows there's no problem with coming to Thailand. The one who hasn't come may have more fear of Thailand. As long as you have your guards up, there's not going to be any problem.
The festival traditionally signals the end of the dry season and the beginning of a new agricultural cycle. The multi-day celebration is often dubbed the world's biggest water fight, a symbol of cleansing and renewal. The UN Cultural Agency, UNESCO, inscribed the festival on the representative list of the intangible cultural heritage of humanity in 2023.
And now, as usual, let's continue with the weather forecast. And that's it for this hour on VTV News. To rewatch our program, you can log on to VTVgo.vn or download our mobile application VTVgo. Thanks for watching and goodbye for now.